This is the complete arsenal of every German warplane from World War II. Fighters, bombers, transports, reconnaissance aircraft, gliders, and even helicopters. More than 80 machines altogether. Some became legendary. Some inspired absolute terror. And some were born from sheer desperation. Fighters and Interceptors. Let's begin with the Fighters and Interceptors. Messerschmitt Bf 109. This iconic fighter formed the absolute foundation of Germany's aerial warfare. Continuously evolving, it was piloted by aces across every significant front from 1939 through 1945. Focke-Wulf FW 190. Allied pilots knew it as the Butcher Bird. This powerful radial engine fighter proved highly formidable. It delivered a devastating performance alternative to the liquid-cooled Messerschmitts. Focke-Wulf. Ta-152, Kurt Tank's late-war triumph. Engineered explicitly for high-altitude interception, it was extraordinarily sleek and swift, though only limited numbers reached operational squadrons before war's end. Messerschmitt Bf 110, the renowned Zerstörer, or destroyer. Dominant in early campaigns, it faltered during the Battle of Britain, but ultimately discovered its true purpose as a lethal night fighter. Messerschmitt Me 210, a problematic design meant to succeed the 110. It experienced critical instability, resulting in production suspension and complete redesign. Messerschmitt Me 410, called the Hornisse, or Hornet. This twin-engine aircraft resolved the shortcomings of its predecessor, operating successfully as a heavy fighter and reconnaissance platform, Heinkel He-51, an aging biplane fighter that witnessed combat in the Spanish Civil War. By World War II, it was primarily assigned to advanced training duties. Messerschmitt Me 262, the Schwalbe, or Swallow. As the world's first operational turbojet fighter, its extraordinary speed rendered it exceptionally difficult for Allied piston engine planes to catch, representing a revolution in aviation. Heinkel He-162, the desperate Volksjäger program. Engineered to be manufactured cheaply from wood and non-strategic materials, this jet was frequently piloted by untrained Hitler Youth aviators. Messerschmitt Me-163, the notorious Comet, the sole rocket-powered fighter to ever enter service. Its velocity was breathtaking, but its unstable fuel made it equally hazardous to its own pilot as to the enemy. Ba 349, the Natter, a revolutionary vertical takeoff rocket interceptor. It was designed for a brief, nearly suicidal surge of defense against bomber formations. Heinkel, a 219, the Uhu, or Owl, arguably the most successful night fighter in the Luftwaffe, and the first operational aircraft to incorporate ejection seats. Dornier, Du 335, the remarkable Pfeil, or Arrow. With its distinctive push-pull engine configuration, this was the swiftest piston engine aircraft Germany ever produced. Bombers and attack aircraft. Next, the bombers and attack aircraft. Junkers Ju-87, the infamous Stuka. Its shrieking Jericho trumpet siren became the signature sound of terror during the Blitzkrieg, though it proved defenseless without air superiority. Junkers Ju-88A, the principal bomber variant of the most adaptable aircraft in German service. Swift and versatile, it executed level bombing, dive bombing, and night fighting. Junkers Ju-188, the Racher variant, an intermediate evolution of the 88 featuring a redesigned glass nose and enhanced performance engines. Junkers Ju-86, an early-generation bomber from the 1930s. While outdated as a bomber, It discovered a specialized role as a high-altitude reconnaissance aircraft. Dornier Do-17, the celebrated flying pencil. This medium bomber depended on velocity for survival in the early war, instantly recognizable by its remarkably narrow fuselage. Dornier Do-215, a derivative of the flying pencil created for export, eventually incorporated into the Luftwaffe for vital reconnaissance missions. Dornier Do-217, a significantly more powerful, heavier bomber design. It witnessed extensive deployment in night fighting and anti-shipping operations, notorious for its substantial payload. Heinkel Ho-111, the unmistakable silhouette of the Blitz. Distinguished by its glazed greenhouse nose, it operated as a bomber, transport, and V-1 launch platform throughout the war. Heinkel. He-177, the massive Grief, or Griffin. This heavy bomber was tormented by engine fires. Despite the technical catastrophes, it was Germany's sole long-range heavy bomber to see service. Arado R-234, the Blitz, the world's first operational jet-powered bomber. It was so rapid that intercepting it was practically impossible for Allied fighters. Henschel HOS-123, a rugged biplane dive bomber. Deemed obsolete in 1939, its durability maintained it in service as a close support aircraft until 1944. Henschel HS-129, the specialized tank destroyer. This heavily armored twin-engine attacker wielded massive 30 or 75 millimeter cannons to penetrate Soviet armor. Focke-Wulf FD-190F, optimized for the ground attack mission, heavily armored to withstand flak while delivering considerable bomb loads at low altitude. Focke-Wulf FW-190G, the long-range fighter-bomber configuration, stripped of heavy cowl guns to maximize fuel capacity for deep penetration strikes. Focke-Wulf FW-200, the Condor, labeled the Scourge of the Atlantic by Winston Churchill. This long-range patrol bomber hunted Allied convoys and directed U-boat wolf packs. Heinkel He-115, a dependable twin-engine seaplane. It operated extensively in coastal regions for mine-laying and torpedo strikes, transport and utility aircraft. Continuing with transport and utility aircraft. Junkers Ju-52, the legendary Tante Ju. This iconic tri-motor transport, with its 3 distinctive engines, was the relentless workhorse of the Luftwaffe in every theater from Crete to Stalingrad. Junkers Ju-290, a powerful long-range 4-engine transport and maritime patrol aircraft, evolved from earlier bomber designs. Junkers Ju-160, a single-engine rapid passenger aircraft from the 30s, utilized early in the war for high-speed liaison operations. Messerschmitt Me-323, the enormous Gigant. This 6-engine transport could haul tremendous loads, including vehicles, though it was sluggish and vulnerable to fighters. Arado R-232, the Millipede, a modern transport featuring an innovative multi-wheel landing gear that enabled it to operate from rough, unprepared airstrips. Junkers Ju-90, a large 4-engine airliner converted for military transport, serving as the predecessor to the larger maritime patrol aircraft. Siebel CA-204, a popular light transport and crew trainer deployed extensively for liaison duties across occupied Europe. Messerschmitt Bf-108, the Typhoon, an elegant low-wing monoplane utilized for rapid communication, which served as the design foundation for the later 109 fighter. Fieseler Fi-156, the famous Storch. Possessing remarkable short takeoff and landing capabilities, it could land virtually anywhere, making it invaluable for rescuing high-ranking officers. Siebel FH-104, A modern twin-engine communications aircraft, typically used to transport staff officers between headquarters. Junkers W-34, a rugged, single-engine utility transport employed primarily for training and carrying priority cargo. Junkers W-33, an influential transport from the pre-war period, mostly utilized to train pilots destined for larger multi-engine aircraft. Heinkel He-46, an older parasol wing reconnaissance biplane. Largely withdrawn by 1940, it witnessed initial scouting service in Poland. Clem KL-31, a civilian design militarized for basic communications duties during the war. Clem KL-32, a successful three-seater variant of the Clem family, praised for its performance despite its wooden construction. Clem KL-36, a four-seat touring aircraft originally designed for racing, conscripted into service for rapid transport roles. Reconnaissance and maritime aircraft, moving to reconnaissance and maritime aircraft. Focke-Wulf FD-189. The Flying Eye. Its twin-boom, glass-intensive design provided the crew an exceptional field of view for battlefield observation. Henschel Hs-126, a high-wing monoplane employed for tactical observation, eventually superseded by the Focke-Wulf 189. Arado R-234B Recon, the dedicated reconnaissance variant of the jet bomber. Its velocity allowed it to photograph Allied preparations over Britain with complete immunity. Heinkel He-70, famous for its speed as a civilian mail plane, it was modified for military reconnaissance and liaison. Dornier Do-17P, a variant of the flying pencil optimized for long-range photo reconnaissance with specialized cameras and additional fuel. Blohm and Voss Bev-138, unofficially nicknamed the Flying Clog due to its shape. This sturdy, tri-motor flying boat was critical for patrols over the Atlantic. Blohm and Voss BV-222, the Colossal Viking, among the largest flying boats of the war, serving as a long-range maritime transport. Dornier Do-24, a highly effective tri-motor flying boat celebrated for its seakeeping ability, primarily deployed for search and rescue. Dornier Do-18, a sturdy flying boat utilized for patrols over the North Sea at the conflict's beginning. Dornier Do-26, a handsome four-engine flying boat with advanced retractable floats, employed sparingly for long-range transport. Heinkel He-59, a large biplane initially deployed for reconnaissance, later gaining infamy when used for intelligence gathering while disguised as a rescue plane. Heinkel He-60, an aging biplane seaplane launched via catapult from warships, eventually replaced by the superior Arado R-196, the standard catapult-launched seaplane aboard major German warships, like the Bismarck. It was remarkably effective against submarines and patrol vessels. Heinkel He-114, an obsolete floatplane that served briefly before being phased out for superior monoplanes. Gliders now for the gliders. DFS-230, the assault glider famous for the silent raid on the fortress of Eben Emael. Gotha Go-242, a large twin-boom cargo glider heavily utilized for supply missions on the Eastern Front. Messerschmitt Me-321, the largest glider of the war. Capable of transporting heavy equipment or 200 soldiers, it required multiple aircraft simply to tow it into the sky. Trainers. Next, the trainers. Booker Bu-131, the Jungmann. This responsive biplane established the excellent standards of early Luftwaffe pilot training. Booker Bu-133, the Jungmeister, an advanced aerobatic trainer legendary for its agility, employed to refine the skills of fighter pilots. Heinkel He-72, the Cadet, an essential primary trainer for the new German Air Force in the 1930s. Clem KL-35, a widely utilized trainer with forgiving handling, ideal for student pilots. Arado R-96, a single-engine monoplane employed to introduce students to the complex handling of modern fighters. Focke-Wulf FW-44. The Stieglitz, a tremendously successful biplane trainer where many future aces learned their craft. Focke-Wulf FW-56. The Stosur, a parasol wing monoplane serving as a transition trainer for fighter tactics. Booker BU-181. The Best Man, a low-wing trainer intended to teach pilots the characteristics of modern monoplanes. Arado R-76, a small parasol wing plane designed as both a trainer and an emergency defensive fighter. Gothago 145, a robust biplane trainer that later witnessed service as a nuisance night attacker on the Eastern Front. Arado R-66, another venerable trainer pressed into service as a light night bomber to harass Soviet troops. Focke-Wulf FU-58. The WWII, a twin-engine utility aircraft employed widely for crew training and as an air ambulance. Siebel-Sy 202, a light civilian aircraft pressed into service for initial flight screening. Helicopters and autogyros. Finally, helicopters and autogyros. Focke-Achilles F-0223. The Drache, a pioneering twin-rotor transport helicopter that demonstrated impressive lifting capabilities. Flettner FL-282. The Colibri, a groundbreaking reconnaissance helicopter deployed on warships for observation. Focke-Achilles FA-330, a highly unusual rotary wing kite. Towed behind U-boats, it lifted a pilot high enough to detect targets while the submarine remained surfaced.